Hi, Shannon O'Flaherty here. Lovely to see you all. You know, you do need to have your notifications on so that you can know when I'm actually coming on to speak to you all. Um, let's see, there we go. And I don't have slides for you tonight because I've been moving house for the last 2 days. But that's okay. So I'm in my new place. I've moved back up north to Ilkley, where I've raised my kids so that I could be closer to my kids during this pandemic. And it's interesting because throat chakra, of course, is all about communication on so many different levels. And I was feeling very isolated where I was before. And now up here, I also still have a handful of friends left so we can go for walks and talk and communicate with people. Because as you all know by now, I'm a really big communicator. I think it is really the most important thing that anybody can do, and to do it clearly. Now, I've been in private practice for 20 years, working with clients one-to-one and in groups and teaching classes. And I work with the chakra system, the whole energy system, and the neural pathways in the brain about why we tick the way we do, why we think the way we do, why we behave the way we do, why we say the things that we do. And sometimes changing your speech is really difficult to do. And of course, for me, I saved it to the very last possible thing because I come from quite a colorful family and don't really use the most politically correct words for everything. And we have a very kind of sick, twisted sense of humor in my family, which I appreciate, but they don't always hold the right vibration. And so it took me a really long time to clean up my speech and clean up my speaking. I'm still caught out on it sometimes because we're all only human, but also what you say and when you say it. So are you one of those people that nervously laughs at a funeral? Or are you one of these people who freaks out if everything's too quiet? You need to say something funny to kind of rescue other people. These are all throat chakra kind of issues. So it's our fifth chakra, and it's located right there at the base of our throat. And it's all about our connection with other people, our creativity, our ability to express our personal intention. And when we're in balance, it's really easy for us to communicate with integrity and clarity and really only say that which is in harmony with our spirit, so that we say yes when we mean yes, we say no when we mean no, so that we're really speaking what we feel, speaking our heart, if you will. I think I spoke about that in the heart chakra too, to speak your whole heart. And so it's also about receiving the creative expression of others. And it's our center for negotiation and discussion and teaching and learning. And it's not just our throat chakra, it's our whole jaw and it's our ears, right? And so it's all about how we're receiving and picking up all of these sensations. And when we're in balance, we realize that we're all interconnected, and we see that negative expression of others really brings people down. Now, when I was much younger, I used to say kind of cutting things, sarcastic things that was just not necessary. Usually it was to be funny, but I wasn't always received with that in mind. And so I'm sure all of you have had the experience of hanging out with somebody, and then there's somebody who's just really negative and they say something negative or ugly, and it brings everybody down because you're just thinking like, well, what's that about? Why do we really need to have that kind of negativity going around? And then of course, what happens when you have somebody who's speaking negatively all the time or always looking at the glass half empty is that sometimes some people could take that personally, and then they get all offended and they get hurt, and the next thing you know, you're having this huge row and you don't even know why, and you don't even know what started it. So that's when we're out of balance. We might be speaking out of place or out of turn. And more than any other chakra, our throat chakra tells the world our intentions, while at the same time, we're inviting other people to share their dreams with us. And so our throat chakra assists in establishing connections with others. It's like the bridge of how we connect to people, how we communicate. I don't know how many actual travelers, not just the spiritual go within travelers, but the outwardly go to another country traveler, go to another country where you might not speak the language. And I think it's so much fun to communicate with other people when you don't speak the language at all, because there's so much sign language that we do. We point, we gesture, we smile, we laugh, we speak slower. Sometimes people yell at you like you can't hear them. I always think that's quite amusing. And a couple of years ago, when I was sailing in the Caribbean, and I met this other couple, a French couple on the boat. Now, the woman and I, she didn't speak any English, and I didn't speak any French whatsoever. But we had this connection. We had this sacred heart connection. And we were kind of speaking telepathically to each other. It was really, really interesting. I'd never had this experience before. And there was a young woman who spoke a little English and spoke French. And so she could kind of translate for us and work with us. And so the gift that this French woman had was that she would speak to deceased people, really connect in with them. If you gave her a photograph, excuse me, oh, there's so much dust when you move. If you gave her a photograph, she could tune into that person, and then she would write a letter from that person to you. So she tuned into my mother and wrote a beautiful letter from my mother to me, and she tuned into Edinson Panduro, my lovely ayahuasquero, who unfortunately died a number of years ago, 3 years ago. And so it was just lovely to share that information. And then I worked shamanically on her, because working with energy, you don't necessarily need words, but energy is a form of communication. If somebody's playing with your energy, I call it playing, but working with your energy, that's definitely a way of communicating. So there's lots of different creative forms of expression. There's art, there's singing, there's dance, there's playing musical instruments, even touching, even just holding hands. I mean, when I was a little kid, if my mother gave us the look that could kill, you know, she was definitely communicating. We felt like we were getting cut with her green glass eyes when she wanted us to know how she was feeling, and no words needed to be exchanged there. So you can see with just a look. And I think that that's a really big part of the isolation problem right now, because everybody's hiding behind masks, right? So you're only seeing eyes, and you're not even being able to see people smile. You're missing like half of the whole expression. So I do like these see-through masks that are coming out, so that you can at least see the whole face, so that you can connect with people, because even total strangers, we're connecting with total strangers when we pass them in the street, if we smile at them, if we say hello, with all of the people that we interact with at the grocery store, for example. That's like the only place I go. But that small form of interaction and connection is really huge and important, because a smile can change somebody's entire day. I remember last year, I think it was, maybe the year before, but I went to a dance weekend, and it was absolutely amazing, because it was a mother and daughter dancing like they were in hold, right? The way that you dance with somebody in hold, except that they weren't touching each other. They were about this far apart, and they just mirrored each other. It was amazing. And when the mother wanted to turn the daughter, she'd just hold her hand up like this and go like that, and the daughter knew that that was the time to turn. It was mesmerizing. I couldn't take my eyes off of them. They were so connected. They were like almost more connected than people who were actually in hold. And I thought, what an amazing communication, how that started. And I asked the story, and they had been baking or something in the kitchen and had hands full of flour and cookie dough and stuff. And a great song came on. So they started dancing, but without touching, so that they wouldn't get all messed up with cookie dough. So another stream of our communication, which is all throat chakra stuff, is mental and telepathic rapport. We use our mental and telepathic rapport all the time, more than you even know, especially with people who are on the same wavelength. My best friend Michelle and I'm always saying, get out of my head, because it's like I have a thought and it comes out of her mouth. It's really, really strange. That's like when when the phone rings, you know who it's going to be, that sort of thing. But we can also tune into negative thoughts, negative thought forms that we don't want, like perhaps the collective fear going on. We can easily tune into that too. So if you lack the ability to explain why you feel the way you do, your mind might be filled with collective monkey chatter. So do you have a personal experience to back up your feelings? So check in with yourself, because oftentimes we're just picking up thought forms and we don't even realize that they're not ours. We're just jumping onto a bandwagon, an energetic bandwagon, and that's all throat chakra stuff. So the clearer you are about what you think, the higher level of telepathic and mental rapport you'll establish with others. And this is why I like to have mind shift calls with people, because a lot of times people don't even realize what it is that they're thinking in any given moment, or what they want, or they don't realize that they're thinking from a place of lack instead of from a place of flow and abundance. And it can be just a little shift of consciousness that's like a huge aha moment. So I'd really love to speak with you. Now, our own inner voice is the highest level of our expression, and it's the reign of our intuition and our spirit guides and angels, and it directs us to our own gifts of clairaudience. So when we have that little hit of intuition, like this happened a few times with my son Forrest. He was driving this van. We went back and forth 2 times, 2 huge trips down to move me all the way up here. And a few times he kept going, I had a little thought about that. And I was like, why didn't you follow that intuition? Because those little inklings of thoughts in the back of your mind, they're there for a reason. So the more that you can tune in to those little ideas, those random kind of thoughts that fly in, the more you're going to fine tune your intuition. And then we can really tune into divine spirit at any given moment to get guidance, right? So I love to have an ongoing dialogue with God all the time, mostly gratitude. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this wonderful sunny day. Thank you so much for this rainbow. Thank you so much for clear traffic all the way. When I arrived here, there was a little cement cat statue in my garden, and I was just like, oh, thank you so much. That feels so good. I feel like this is the place for me because of that little statue. And so I'm always paying attention and always having a regular conversation with God. And so I feel like when I receive, I call it a hit. When I get a hit or an inspiration or something, I think, oh, okay, that's something I really ought to pay attention to. So are you open and willing to be flexible and allow intuition to influence your behavior? If so, I would really, really love to hear from you. I want to hear what's going on for you right now, where you want to be, and how I can help you shift your consciousness so that you can get there, so that you can communicate your best truth. So many of us have such a hard time being seen and heard. It's all throat chakra stuff. from all of those mixed messages we got as kids. And I'd really love to help you shift out of that. So please book a mind shift call with me. I really look forward to hearing from all of you. And it's been great fun connecting with you tonight about throat chakra. Lots of love, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.